Hey everybody, it's me Boronian with another Duelyst video. And today it's a sad video. It's my Duelyst Farewell video. And I'm sure you all saw and read this message that Duelyst will be shutting down completely on February the 27th, 2020. And I want to talk to you about this today. First, I will tell you what I will talk about before I get into the details. I will make this video into several smaller videos which I will put into one playlist. This has the advantage that it's easier to watch because every video is shorter, and it's easier to comment if you want to comment on something specific because not because the video is only 20 minutes long and not 1 hour and 30. First, I will tell you how I heard about it. Then I tell you why Duelist is the best game ever. No, not the best game maybe, but why it's amazing, why it's so good, and why it's such a special gem that it got played so many years, even though it's a super small indie studio with no money, no name to it. After that, I will tell you about my history with it, how I came to the game, what I achieved, what I'm proud of. Then we go into the meta right now, what I liked about it, where it is, and what I wish would have been different or would have changed. And then we can talk a little bit, won't be long, but a little bit about a future for Duelist. Is there any chance of a comeback? Or is there what's happening with Duelist? And after that, it's a question, what will I do with my channel? Because my channel was very focused on Duelist. Now it's a question, what will I do afterwards? I have some plans and I will tell you about that. And in the end, I have to thank a lot of people. And I want to do that. I want to spend some time on that because that's important to me. Yeah. So, how did I hear about it? About Duelist shutting down? Well, I was at a birthday party. A friend of mine, she turned 30. So there was this big party and I was there and had a good time, and suddenly I got messages and people telling me about the Duelist shutting down. I was so surprised. I really believed that we have at least another year till Godfall comes out. But Duelist is in a very complicated situation with the publisher Bandai and CBG, and the server being owned by Bandai and CBG not really having contact with them, and nobody's working on Duelist, so Bandai just pulled the plug, and it is that way. And there's a fun, I mean, is it a fun story? I don't know. Is it kind of fun, also sad story? So I was at this party and I thought, oh, good that I'm here. I need another beer. So and then at some point I got home, and to my surprise, my partner, she was still awake, and she came out to greet me, and I wondered why, and then she said, "I'm so sorry. Uh, I what's happening now?" I thought, and she said, "I'm so sorry that Duelist is shutting down." And I was, "How do you know about this?" And she said, "You know, I wanted this to be a surprise for you, but today was the day I started playing Duelist. And I had this dream of meeting you on the ladder and you not knowing it's me and playing against you. And so I played the tutorial, and then suddenly there was this message popping up, this banner, and it said Duelist will be shutting down. And it was on the day I decided to play Duelist." So it was very moving because it was so thoughtful of her to wait up for me, because she knew how much the game meant to me. And it's also very funny, and I think kind of ironic that this was the day she decided, after all the years I tried to get her into it, that she will look at it. Yeah, that's how I heard about it. And then I think everybody has a story to tell, and I'm sure this is one of the moments I won't forget where I was when I got this message. And the reason for this is because Duelyst is amazing. It's a game like nothing else I ever found. There's some similar games, of course, but not really doing it in the way Duelyst does. Duelyst hold my imagination, my willingness to play it for so many years, and I didn't see any end to it. I still loved getting into it and being in the community every day, and I think there was no reason for me to stop, except them shutting down the servers. Then why is that? What do I think is so good about Duelyst? First, it's a card game, but there are many card games. Second, it has a board. So it combines cards with a board, and this is amazing. But there are also other games out there doing the same thing. Not in a like in this big grid as Duelyst has, but still in a good way. Like Theria has a board, or Mythgard has like at least lanes where you have to position. But the way Duelyst did the way Duelyst did it was the best in my opinion. Because there's another point. Duelyst has a general which represents your health, but is also one of the strongest characters in the game. It's a 225. This is amazing. Because these other games, they may have a board, but they don't have you participating. And so they could have done the chess thing, you know, having a weak king who has to be protected from everything. But no, they went the other way. They said, you know what, your general has to be strong because you are, I mean, the strongest guy on the board. And this is great. It was a great decision. To a certain point, you really get into it. You use your general's hit points as a resource to progress your board to win the game. And then suddenly you have to think about, oh, dude, I have to retreat. I have to protect myself because I'm close to death. And this is a great thing. This is amazing. And this was a great, great solution. So together with the board where you can position your minions and you have to think about where to put them because they can only move a certain way. You want them to be safe, but also be in a way that they can do something. This offered so much. Together with the general was amazing. And so sometimes you could run away, win some time to find the answer you needed or the card to win. And this is something the other card games don't have because you can't run away in Magic, in Hearthstone, or in any other game because your general is not something which is on the board to get hit. It's a faceless person at the other side of the board. I think I like the general on board the most. To be in there. Also, Duelyst has had this amazing ability of replacing a card. A lot of people already talked about it, but it's so good. I mean, it means that you have to balance around it, of course, but it feels so good to be not stuck with a bad hand, but to say, yeah, okay, I have a bad hand, but I can replace a card. So I can replace into a good card. This is what I need, what I want. It feels so bad to have a bad card for so many turns and then let's hope that you survive long enough to play the cards, then you're stuck with the whole game. It also makes it more rewarding to be a good deck builder because then you're replacing the cards you need at a point. You go for consistency. So yeah, I really like the replace function. I think more games should do it, even though it means that you have to balance around it. Because people will have more often the answers, so you have to be aware of that. I also think that they did the factions very well. I mean, there are 6 factions in the game, which is I think, in my opinion, big amount. And they all felt very different. They all had so many different cards. And so many different archetypes. And I really liked playing almost all of them. There's some I disliked, of course. But there were a lot of them. And especially in the end, the meta we had, and we talk about it later, there were a lot of them viable. Could have fun with them. So all in all, what I liked most about the game though, and this all the things I mentioned, other things I didn't mention, like the puzzles the game offered, they all culminate in one thing, that Duelyst sometimes hurts your brain. But in a good way, you know. It's you're playing and if you really put your mind into it and you think about your turns, what to play around, how to position, to lay out some traps, you could beat other players easily if they didn't do the same. It always felt so rewarding. Duelyst is not a game about who has the better deck. Though the deck quality is of course important. But a good player with a bad deck wins more often against a bad player with a good deck. Depending how bad they are, they win all the time. Or almost all the time. And that's great. That's amazing. And this feeling was always the best. The same when you lost. Most of the times you knew why you lost, because you did something wrong. It's a mistake you did which snowballed into other things. But yeah, that's the nature of the game. It made also the game very watchable. It was great to watch on stream or YouTube videos because you could always participate and think, why did it do it that way? I would have positioned it a little bit different. I mean, you can watch other card games, but they don't offer so many options, variations, where you can think, I would have done it differently. Most of the times there's a clean, optimal way to play, because there are not that many options as in Duelyst. That's something I will miss, because that's what I loved. I watched way more Duelyst than I played. It was so great to watch it on the side while I did some work for my job, other stuff. And I learned so much by watching, which is also something I will talk about in a moment. But yeah, I watched so many Twitch streamers, YouTube content creators, or just replays in the game, because I added all the good players I could find to watch the replays to learn from them. And I learned from them. It was amazing how I noticed myself, how I got better. Yeah, I mean, there are more reasons why Duelyst is so great, I think. But for me, these are the ones who stand out. I'm sure you have others. Like, I know some people really like the pixel art, and I really love it too. But I'm not so much a graphics guy, you know. It could have been looked differently. It was still the game I love. If you have something in mind which I missed, then please let me know in the comments. I would love to read about your reason why Duelyst is such a great game.